I'm going to call this meeting of Veterans Affairs Emergency Preparedness to order. Representative Ham, could you please lead us in the pledge? Thank you, Representative. We have five resolutions to consider. We will move to Senate. First of all, let's go to the Senator first, because I know you have a time issue. Senate Bill 1160. We will take a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Attendance, Jamie. Then we'll go.
Chairman Gillen?
Here.
Oh, sorry. Chairman Solomon?
Here.
Representative Borowski? Here. Representative Brown, designation. Representative Gens?
Here.
Representative Haddock, designation. Representative Markozik, designation. Representative Monroe, designation. Representative O'Mara, designation. Representative Paoli, designation. Representative Sapi. Representative Scott, designation. Representative Takak, designation. Representative Webster.
Here.
Representative Williams.
Here.
Chairman Gillen.
Still here.
Representative Banta.
Designation.
Representative Ham.
Here.
Representative Krupa.
Here.
Representative Mako.
Here.
Representative Rigby.
Designation.
Representative Shalaba.
Designation.
Representative Stair.
Designation.
Representative Stender.
Here.
Representative Watro.
Here.
Representative Craig Williams.
Designation.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Jamie, and we're joined by Representative Haddock. We'll move to Senate Bill 1160. I'll take a motion from Representative Watro, seconded by Representative Webster, to bring up Senate Bill 1160. Senator Mastriano, with your remarks.
Thank you, Chairman Solomon and Gillum and members of the committee for taking up Senate Bill 1160 today. Pennsylvania has designated March 6th as Persian Gulf War Veterans Day and October 7th as a Global War on Terror Day. In a meeting about a year or so ago, a Vietnam representative was like, what about our day? And we all thought, here we did it to them again. Once again, Vietnam's overlooked. We recognize our wars, our recent modern wars that some of us fought in here, but once again skipped the Vietnam veterans. It was a shocking realization for me to see that we're just doing it to them again. You know, you guys say thanks, welcome home, but whatever. So, you know, if you think about that, you know, my recollections of Vietnam, now granted I was young, but my dad was in the Navy for 20-some years, retiring in '73, so before the end of the Vietnam War, and he was an aviation mate first class, working in the back of helicopters. And I remember Chairman Solomon, he came back one day from work at Lakehurst Naval Air Station, not in uniform anymore. And I saw him coming back a few days in a row in civilian clothes, and I'm a kid. I like seeing my dad in his sailor uniform. I'm like, Dad, where's your uniform? And he said our base commander gave us orders that we cannot wear it off anymore, and we might get assaulted by fellow Americans, might get assaulted by citizens, and it was appalling to me. And then, you know, later on when you grow up, you find out that coming off the plane in San Francisco, many of our veterans, coming out of a year in the rice paddies, coming out of a year in the mountains with the Hmong warriors, coming a year in the DMZ, or riding up Highway 1 in Vietnam, or down the mountains during Operation Masher, sacrificing, losing friends, being in horrible conditions, fighting an unseen foe at times, and you know, being spat on, being called baby killers. You know, after all they've gone through for their country, a war that many of them didn't want to go to, but they went because they're drafted. And it left a psychological blow to that entire generation of military members, that they were rejected by a country for which they sacrificed so much. You know, Vietnam was our second longest war after Afghanistan, 61 to 75. You know, we saw the end of it in 75 in Beirut with the retreat and helicopters, and then the boat people, those that supported us fleeing. Just so much calamity and so much sacrifice. You know, being 58,000 of our brothers and sisters losing their lives, giving their lives so that we could be free. You know, in that vein, momentum has built to recognize them. Ronald Reagan, of course, commissioned and blessed and opened the Vietnam War Memorial down in D.C., a very somber reflection with all the names engraved on it. And then in 2012, President Obama issued a proclamation designating March 29th nationally as the annual observance of Vietnam War Veterans Day. 2017, President Trump signed into law the Vietnam War Veterans Recognition Act, designating March 29th as Vietnam War Veterans Day and amending the flag code to include the National Vietnam War Veterans Day on which the flag should be flown. And we're still in the midst of marking the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War and moving closer to March 29th. And I am honored and pleased and thankful for each of you here on this committee being willing to make one more step in saying thank you and welcome home to our Vietnam War veterans by moving this bill. I'm subject to your questions.
Thank you so much, Senator, for your remarks. We're also joined online by Representative Craig Williams. Comments or questions for Senator Mastriano? Chairman Gillen.
Thank you, Senator Mastriano. I think you well articulated the unappreciative status historically those that served the Vietnam conflict. Last night I spoke at a Hometown Heroes event in Exeter, and part of that group that was seated there that was going to be honored with the standards on the light poles was Tom Capel. He was a Phantom pilot back during the Vietnam War. It was the war of my youth. I actually was delivering the Philadelphia Bulletin during that period of time, starting in 1964. And so I was on the front page of every newspaper. And the protests were also on the front page of the newspaper as well. But I walked over to speak with Tom Capel. It was a Phantom pilot, and he spoke tearing up about the loss of his fellow comrades during that period of time. And we're certainly grateful for everyone's distinguished service that was in the Vietnam conflict. My dad was a Navy veteran and aviator.
Oh.
And I could see the frowns on his face when he picked up the newspaper and realized that there was such great opposition to the average individual fighting man and woman there. And I think it's long overdue. And so I'm pleased to cast an affirmative vote. On behalf of someone you've never heard of before, back in my hometown area, Schultz and Brennan, they didn't come back from Vietnam. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative. And again, Senator, thank you for this. Thank you for being here today. I think that, in general, we hold policymakers accountable for policy missteps, but we honor the service of our service members, the men and women who wear the cloth of this nation. So thank you so much for bringing this resolution forward. Are there any negative votes? Seeing none, Senate Bill 1160 is adopted unanimously. Again, thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Moving on to House Resolution 526, printers number 3629, authored by Representative Stender. I'll take a motion from Representative Haddock, seconded by Representative Mako, to bring up the resolution. Representative Stender, with your remarks.
Yes, thank you to both chairmen and staff for helping get this on the calendar. One of the things we've learned through some of the hearings we've held as a committee this year is that we have possibly a gap in urban search and rescue through the suburban, urban, and rural areas of Pennsylvania. So our goal with this is really to have the Joint State Government Committee take a look, bring back some recommendations that can help us, but more importantly can help PEMA in identifying ways that we can help Pennsylvanians. When we think of some of the incidents that Pennsylvania Urban Search and Rescue would respond to just here in the state, I think some of the last ones were the bridge collapse out in Allegheny County, the flooding in Bucks County last year, the chocolate factory explosion in West Reading last year. These are just some of the recent incidents where we would call into action for our urban search and rescue teams. So, and why we all are talking about this, I think we have approximately 45 first responders from Pennsylvania now in North Carolina or parts throughout the South helping with the hurricane incident. So I think this is a good step for us to help PEMA in what would be appropriate here in Pennsylvania moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Stender. We're also joined by Representative Banta. Thanks for being here. On the resolution, any comments or questions? Chairman Gillen.
I think the comprehensive gap study couldn't be more timely. We have assets deployed in the Carolinas. I myself was there last week, back again this weekend, following the progress that our heroes down there are making. Of course, we have Task Force 1, which is deployed down there, and they spent about 6 hours trying to get some help to one individual with medical problems. I spent a lot of time in that area for various reasons, hiking, living, and working in the Carolina mountains. They're very rugged, they're very difficult. With 20 inches of rain there, it's a real struggle. And so however we can help, including a comprehensive gap study, to make sure that the Commonwealth has the resources not only to deploy within the state borders, but when needed, elsewhere. I think this is an excellent resolution, and I'm pleased to vote for it in a few moments here.
Thank you, Chairman. I agree with the new search and rescue team out west. We had talked about doing a comprehensive study, and I think it's high time to do that. So I appreciate the representative bringing this resolution to us. Are there any negative votes? Seeing none, House Resolution 526 is adopted unanimously and moves to the floor. Next up, Representative, since you are here, why don't you come up for House Resolution 548, printer's number 3702. I will take a motion from Representative Borowski, seconded by Representative Stender, to bring up the resolution. Representative, if you have any remarks, please.
Good morning. Thank you to both Chairman and the committee for providing me an opportunity to speak on House Resolution 548, which will designate the week of October 13th to October 19th, 2024, as Military Sexual Trauma Survivor Week here in Pennsylvania. This resolution aims to bring attention to a deeply troubling issue within our armed forces, which is sexual assault. According to the 2023 Department of Defense report, over 8,500 military members reported being sexually assaulted last year. Of those, 75% were women. But it's important to highlight that 25% of those reported having been assaulted were men. This shows that sexual assault in the military does not discriminate based on gender. Everyone can be a victim. Many survivors express fear of retaliation, shame, or concerns about their career prospects if they come forward. While recent efforts to align the sexual assault prevention and response policy with transparency have led to increased reporting, we know that many cases still go unreported. The military's culture must continue evolving to prioritize victim assistance and create an environment where survivors feel safe to report their experiences without fear of retribution. Our service members risk everything for our country, so it is our duty to protect them, not just on the battlefield, but within their own ranks. By shedding light on this issue, we can foster conversations that will ultimately support survivors and help prevent future cases of sexual assault in the military. I thank you in advance for your support to this resolution, which will help us stand in solidarity with military sexual trauma survivors and continue the fight against sexual misconduct in our armed forces. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Representative, for being here and for your comments. Are there any comments or questions for the representative? Representative Webster.
Thanks, Chairman. I'll be very brief, but just want to recognize how important this is. September was Military Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and we did a number of, across the Commonwealth, trying to raise awareness. And, we can list those things, whether it's combat trauma, physical wounds, and casualty, impairment, whether it's loneliness, whether moral trauma, and maybe one of the biggest contributions that you're pointing us to one more time is sexual trauma that goes unrecognized and really impacts the veterans who are thinking about ending their lives, and so that shame, the discouragement that they have facing all that. This is a really important issue, and I think it's important that it's not just 1 month where for the veterans that we're thinking of this, that we continue that awareness of what those men and women have gone through. So thanks to the maker of the bill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Webster. Are there any other questions or comments? Chairman Gillen.
Yeah, I want to thank my colleague from Berks County for moving this resolution forward. Certainly, raising awareness is a key phrase that I'm hearing here, and it's also timely on our own situation. My daughter was recently training down at Fort Knox and Fort Jackson. Before that, she's at the cusp of beginning a military career. So I think this is important to everyone in the room. We all have touchstones regarding military family situations or personal friends. We have some in this room that are serving currently in the Pennsylvania National Guard, and so I want to applaud you for advancing this. Look forward to voting for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Gillen. We are joined by Representative Scott and Representative Takek. Thanks for being here. Anything else on this resolution? Representative, I appreciate you being here. It's important as someone who's in the military. We put up millions of dollars into trying to combat sexual misconduct. We still need to do better. The sharp training, all the glossy presentations, they get us part of the way there, but creating that awareness, we appreciate the work that your resolution is doing, so we're ever mindful of this issue. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Are there any negative votes on the resolution? Seeing none, thank you again, Representative. House Resolution 548 moves to the floor for consideration. Next up, we have House Resolution 540, authored by Representative Marcel. I'll take a motion from Representative Stender, seconded by Representative Dan Williams, to bring up the resolution. She's not online, right? Are there any comments on House Resolution 540? Mike with a brief description of the resolution.
House Resolution 540 designates the week of October 6th through the 12th, 2024 as Fire Prevention Week in Pennsylvania.
Thank you. Are there any comments? Representative Scott.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, for bringing up this resolution. I just want to note that in Norristown, Montgomery County, we had several accidents and multiple fatalities prior to putting our fire prevention initiatives into place. Over the last 11, 12 years since we bought our fire safety house, we now have partnered with our school district. Every kid in kindergarten and third grade goes through our fire safety house every year. Now when we have fires in our community, folks know they have a plan to get out of the fire. They have a plan to get out of the house. They know how to drop, roll, and get out safely. And we've effectively reduced our fatalities and injuries to zero. I think bringing awareness to fire prevention as well as what to do when there is a fire is incredibly important. So thank you for bringing up this resolution.
Thank you, Representative Scott. Any other questions or comments? Representative Stender.
Thank you, Chairman. Just as a reminder to everybody, this year's Fire Prevention Week is focused on smoke detectors. Make them work for you. If you haven't already, please this week make sure you or somebody in your house checks your smoke detector. Truly one of the devices that does save lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Chairman Gillen.
I appreciate the timely reminder. My good colleague from Montgomery County in Norristown area, my own children went through a fire safety house. When I was substantially younger, the house that I was living in, I was a renter, burned to the ground. Lost everything that was in it, and more contemporary had a minor fire in the house. And so raising awareness saves lives. Happy to do that with the team.
Thank you, Chairman Gillen. Before you leave, Representative Harris, thanks for being here. Thank you. We appreciate it. We need more audience participants, so thank you. Are there any negative votes on the resolution? House Resolution 540 is adopted unanimously, moves to the floor for consideration. Our last resolution is House Resolution 544, authored by Representative Watro. I'll take a motion from Representative Genst, seconded by Representative Banta, to bring up the resolution. Representative Watro, your remarks.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Chairman Gillen, thank you very much for bringing this up, and members of the staff as well. Thank you very much for your hard work on this. House Resolution 544, there's over 840,000 veterans who reside in Pennsylvania and make up 7.5% of our state's population. Veterans are an essential pillar of our local communities in every area of the Commonwealth that inspire future generations with their heroism and sacrifice. Veterans Day reminds us of our shared responsibilities to recognize the service and sacrifice of those who laid down their lives to protect our nation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Watro. We're joined online by Representative Pielli. Any comments on the resolution? Chairman Gillen.
I like it.
Thank you. Concur. Any negative votes? House Resolution 544 is adopted unanimously and will move to the floor for consideration. Any other business before the committee? Seeing none, we are adjourned.